think the osprey's coming in.
Oh, the osprey, yeah.
Yeah, the gulls are running.
Fish, it looks like.
Oh, look.
Yeah.
Oh, going. Nice.
Here it comes. It's got a fish, guys. Oh. I started at 5 years old.
Whoa.
My dad would get me into birding. He bought me my first field guide, which was a golden guide, and he would take me to places like Rifle Bird Sanctuary. We'd go there, look at the birds. He'd teach me how to feed the chickadees, and every bird we saw, we would go home at the evening and tick it off in the book. He sparked the love of birds and getting out in nature, and since I'm so hardcore and passionate about it, I wanted to share that with the youth. There's always tons of swallows, and cliff swallows, they cling to the nests. Yeah, so I started the Young Birder program in 2014, and I saw all these young birders every time I went out birding, and they'd be birding alone. And so I started to ask them, like, hey, would you like to come out with me and go birding, and we could, form a group? Would you be interested in that? And they were all so keen. So I got the group together, and we started to take them out on field trips across the province. My goal was to get them out to see birds that they wouldn't see in their own backyard.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
Oh, in the tree there, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
That's
that's a catbird. That's the baby, that one.
That's the baby?
That one's the baby down there.
Oh, one in the tree.
Yeah, you can see it has a yellow gape. It is. It's fly catching and trying to get bugs and berries.
Yeah.
When the parent left, we were watching the parent fly across and back and forth. Well, I lost my mother before my father. She died from breast cancer. And then, I lost my father in February 2023. He actually died on my mom's, would have been her birthday, so that was very hard. I think nobody really knows what it's like until they go through it, because I certainly didn't know what it would be like till I lost my mother. And it was very, like a pain I've never had before. And then losing my father on top of that was just really hard. That looks like a young yellowthroat, but it's... Is it really that great?
Well, I didn't consider it. Yeah, you're right. I didn't consider it being juvenile. That's interesting.
It's a young one. I've had a lot of invalidating comments with people trying to be helpful, but they've actually been hurtful. They've said things like, oh, you were lucky you had so long with your parents. Some people lose their parents when they're children and when it's much harder, or, oh, they lived a long life, or it was their time. But the fact is, it's very painful, and I am sad. So you just want people to listen and hear you without making any judgment calls or trying to make it better, because you really can't fix grief. So we're looking at osprey right now. We've got one adult on the right-hand side and 3 young chicks on the left-hand side. The young ones have much more scaly mantled feathers than the adults, which are solid brown. But they still need to learn the skills to hunt on their own. Right now, the adults are still bringing them fish. Yeah. That's why you can hear their begging calls.
She knows like everything there is to know. It's crazy. She's very eager to teach you, so it's really awesome to have a mentor like her.
For the past few years I've been in this group, I've definitely learned a lot more and have had a very good time being in a very kind of casual, comfortable group. Just being out in nature, seeing a lot of green, I think it does something to like kind of reset your brain. Yeah, it's relaxing in its own way.
Well, yeah, the young birders, the alumni, their parents, they've all been wonderful. They've probably been the best of anybody. They've just been so loving and treated me like family, If it comes from parents just calling me, giving me, gift certificates. Because when you lose both your parents, you don't want to do much. You don't want to cook. You don't want to. So they thought of me like that. And I was so touched by how the young birders, both past and present, and their families just made me feel like so important. And just, it really touched me because I lost both my parents, and they just were so grateful for what I did for their children, that they treated me like so special. And I'll never forget it for the rest of my life, It was just like, it meant the world to me, After I left the hospital when my dad passed away, the first thing I heard was a song sparrow. This song sparrow sang, and in this moment of great pain, that song just lifted me up. And a song sparrow is a very common bird, not a very beautiful bird. It's this brown, drab bird. But that song just made me just lift up just a little bit and be like, hey, life is still beautiful, despite it being so tragic and so painful. It just was a little bright light on such a dark day for me. Like, I'll never forget my father. I'll never forget my mother. I think of them every day. But these birds helped me to keep going forward, to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Just like the youth helped me too with that. Like, they give me some sense of purpose and joy to keep going.